On a Monday morning in September 2008, the CEO of one of the world's largest banks couldn't go to work because he no longer had a job to go to. $613 billion vanished overnight. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is this. 3 days before the bank collapsed, analysts were still saying the system is sound. Government officials were still saying it's under control, and people still believed it. So how did no one see it coming? Actually, they did know, but they didn't want to see it, because the system was extremely profitable. And when there is profit, no one expects anything bad to happen. Today, I'm going to ask you those questions, because 2008 wasn't an accident. It was a design. And within that design were your money, your home, your future. Hello, I'm Henry. Come with me. Let's go back to Las Vegas, 2004. We're with Marina, a 35-year-old working as a hotel receptionist. She earns around $42,000 a year. One day, a bank representative knocks on her door. Would you like to buy a house? No down payment. Very low interest for the first 2 years. Maria hesitates. But can I afford it? The representative smiles. What's there not to afford? House prices go up every year. You can sell it later and keep the profit. It sounds reasonable to Maria, and she signs. That year, millions of people like Maria in the United States took out mortgages because everyone was saying the same thing. House prices never fall. This wasn't just a belief. It was a doctrine, and a system worth trillions of dollars had been built on top of that doctrine. Now let's zoom out, because Maria's story isn't just about buying a house. The bank that gave Maria her mortgage didn't keep it. It bundled it with other mortgages and sold it to Wall Street. This was called a mortgage-backed security. Wall Street then took that package, sliced it into pieces, divided it into different risk layers, and sold those pieces to pension funds, insurance companies, German banks, Japanese investors around the world. And the system worked, at least for a while, because as long as house prices were rising, Maria kept paying her loan. As long as Maria paid, the packages didn't lose value. As long as the packages were valuable, everyone was happy. But what if prices fell? Rating agencies couldn't imagine it, or they did, and didn't care, because they gave most of these packages a AAA rating, the safest investment. Same risk level as government bonds. But inside those packages were mortgages from thousands of people like Maria. And after 2 years, when her interest rate increased, Maria could no longer afford her payments. By the end of 2006, house prices started to fall for the first time. It was a small drop. But that small drop had been keeping millions of mortgages afloat. Once prices fell, the debt exceeded the value of the house. Even if Maria sold it, she couldn't cover her loan anymore. The logical decision, walk away. And millions of people did. Homes began to empty. More houses hit the market, pushing prices down even further. Mortgage payments stopped. As a result, those packages became worthless, and the banks holding those packages woke up one morning and realized the assets they held had no value. Summer 2007, Bear Stearns, one of Wall Street's oldest banks, 2 hedge funds collapsed. Why? Because they were full of these AAA-rated packages. No one panicked. An isolated incident, they said. Then March 2008, Bear Stearns itself collapsed. The Fed stepped in and sold it to JP Morgan Chase. No one panicked. The system is holding, they said. September 15th, 2008, Monday morning. Lehman Brothers, with its 158-year history, filed for bankruptcy. $613 billion in debt, the largest bankruptcy in history. And that morning, the world froze, because Lehman wasn't just a bank. It was a structure connected through thousands of transactions with financial institutions all over the world. And when Lehman collapsed, those connections broke. The interbank market stopped. Banks stopped lending to each other because no one trusted anyone. No one knew the real value of the assets they held. And this crisis of trust was a reflection of 1929. Same structure, same mechanism, same panic. Only the tools were different. In 1929, banks collapsed. In 2008, the heart of Wall Street stopped. The result was the same. The system froze. And this is where the lesson learned from 1929 came into play, because the system built after 1929 was designed exactly for moments like this. The Fed injected hundreds of billions of dollars into the market within a single week. Congress approved a $700 billion bailout package. It was called TARP, Troubled Asset Relief Program. AIG was saved, Citigroup was saved, Bank of America was saved, and the markets slowly calmed down. But Maria had already lost her house. There were thousands of empty homes in Las Vegas. Banks no longer held the mortgages. Those who created the assets that triggered the collapse were saved. But the people inside those assets were left to their fate. And here we see again the sentence we mentioned in our Great Depression video. Profits were privatized. Losses were socialized. Now let's look at the numbers. But numbers don't tell the full story. 8 million people lost their jobs. 6 million homes were foreclosed. $10 trillion of wealth vanished. A generation's retirement savings disappeared. And then this happened. Wall Street started making profits again in 2009. By 2010, banker bonuses returned to 2007 levels. The system had been saved. But which system? Maria's. No. Joseph Schumpeter called it creative destruction. Old structures collapse, new ones emerge. But in 2008, old structures didn't collapse. They were propped up with taxpayer money. And instead of being reborn, the system continued as it was, only with bigger banks, less competition, and the same incentive structure. Naomi Klein's shock doctrine worked very differently here. In 1929, the crisis gave Franklin D. Roosevelt the opportunity to rewrite the system. In 2008, the crisis was used to preserve it. 1929 and 2008. Two crises. Same mechanism, different outcomes. After 1929, the system transformed. Banks were regulated. The role of the state was redefined. After 2008, the system was simply rescued, but not transformed. And now I leave you with this question. Can a system be saved every time? Or will there be a crisis one day too big to save? I don't know the answer, but I do know this. Every rescue makes the next crisis bigger, because the system still runs on trust and debt. And if trust breaks again one day, everything will start over. If you haven't watched the 1929 video yet, I've left it on the screen. Because to fully understand this story, you need to go back there first. See you in the next video.